welcome to Wildcard FPL, where strategies are dissected and dreams are built. My name is Alf, and today we're going to be looking at Gameweek 21, how I got on, a look ahead to Gameweek 22, looking at some transfers, and also a bit of a Twitter deep dive. So without further ado, let's go. It was a decent week for me with 67 points in the green arrow, with my rank now being just over the 150,000 mark. Rank change all in was just under 50,000, so a good week, it's got to be said. In goal, it's Areola with 3 points, Pedro Porro with 6, Estepinian with 8, and Gabriel with 17. Happy with my defence all in, really chuffed with those points. Very much could be worse. From a midfield standpoint, it's not too good, but fortunately I did captain Palmer, who got those 20 points all in. Disappointed with Saka, Foden, Bowen especially. Was not really expecting too much from Decore. He is a bit of a punt, but still, for him to outscore Bowen and Foden, I think is a little bit disappointing. From a forward line standpoint, Solanke and Watkins with 3 points, not the best at all. So really, Palmer, Gabriel, the rest of my defenders really did get me through the game week. Looking ahead to Game Week 22, my team currently looks like this. There aren't really much changes to my previous team, except Trent can now come in, as it looks as though he's going to be fit for this game against Chelsea at home. That means that I'm going to be actually benching Gabriel, which is a little bit of a tough choice, but it's Nottingham Forest away versus Chelsea at home. My captaincy armband currently sits with Phil Foden. That's who I'm going with at the moment. That could change. I don't mind Saka versus Nottingham Forest, but that's not an easy fixture away. Bowen, Bournemouth home is also a pick there that I think might be good. Trent, Chelsea home could be a good punt as well. My vice captain currently is on Pedro Porro, who's got Brentford at home, who I do like that fixture. And Pedro Porro, as we know, is a very productive asset to have in FPL, so that could be a nice shout as well. But currently it's on Foden. So now let's talk about some potential transfers for Game Week 22. First up is Livramento, who I really feel is going to be a good asset, particularly given the news that Trippier is going to be going to Bayern Munich. That transfer has not gone through yet, but it looks like talks are promising. If that is to happen, then I think picking up Livramento is a bit of a no-brainer. He's going to be nailed. He's got some fantastic fixtures coming up. At only 4.3 million, it is a little bit of a bargain and someone I just don't think I can ignore if I do need to make that defensive change. If we're thinking about replacements for my team, I do have Konza on the bench. I do like Konza, but he's not attacking whatsoever, and I think Livramento's ceiling is much higher, so that could be a move that I make. It's got to be said, a little bit of a luxury move, and if I don't have any of the fires to put out, that's something I might do. I like that transfer, and I think Livramento is going to be fantastic for Newcastle. A quick look on Twitter regarding Livramento. United Ollie at Ollie576 has said, I think Trippier is a good player. In FPL, he tends to get quite a few points. However, there was a chance that Livramento 4.3 could be starting if Trippier 6.7 decided to leave. I could have then used the remaining funds to improve my team elsewhere. And FPL West has said, what do I even do with this? Generally wish I could wildcard if I didn't have it planned for the future. No defenders that even interest me either. Hope Trippier heads to Bayern so Livramento gets game time. Trent back for Liverpool would help massively. So it looks like the community is discussing Livramento and considering him as an asset. I agree. I think he's going to be a really good player. Someone that we can bring in and free up some funds elsewhere to get your De Bruyne's in, for example. So a good player to have and someone who I'm seriously looking at. From a midfield standpoint, a pick that I really like is Douglas Luiz. Points per million, he is one of the best assets to own in FPL this season. He has absolutely incredible fixtures coming up over the next 5 game weeks. He's absolutely nailed. He's one of Aston Villa's most pivotal key players. He's on penalties and he's only 5.6 mil. I think if you're looking for a bargain midfielder, Douglas Luiz is the one you should be looking at. In terms of replacements, for me, I think it has to be Bukayo Saka coming out if I was to make this move. It could also be someone like Decore, but given Saka's price and his performance over the past few weeks, I think that this is a move that I really like and can free up a lot of budget for your team. As a midfield punt, I think Douglas Luiz is a very fine asset to own and someone I am seriously considering to bring into my midfield. Another midfielder, surprise, surprise, is Diogo Jota, who just had an absolute banger game week. Is he nailed now that Salah's out for up to a month with that injury? I think he probably is. And given the fixtures that he's got coming up, I think he really is a fantastic asset to own and someone that I will be looking at if I do need to make a midfield change. It would be Bukayo Saka making room for Jota if I was to make this move. Again, Saka's price and his performance just makes this a bit of a no-brainer if I was to make it. There is a part of me that wants to give Saka the Nottingham Forest fixture. If he doesn't do anything in that game, I think it is time to get rid. So for me, it will be Jota or Douglas Luiz coming in for Saka. There is an absentee here that needs to be noted in that I'm not considering Kevin De Bruyne. I think given that he is not nailed in the first team, that he would be an avoid for me. But let me know what you think in the comments. De Bruyne seems to be coming off the bench even with 20 minutes to spare and having an absolute banger. So it could be a mistake, but for me, I think Jota and Douglas Luiz are better picks than De Bruyne. And then from a forward standpoint, the big man, Erling Haaland, it looks like he's going to be back to face Burnley at home. If he is back, it's going to be a very easy decision for me to bring him into my team using my one free transfer. Don't need to say all these things, but he's nailed, he's on pens, it's Erling Haaland, it's a no-brainer. If we get early news that Haaland is going to be back, I will make that transfer and it will be for Cameron Archer. I can do that for a straight swap without too much surgery to my team. I've got one free transfer, so this could be a real move that I make. I will be captaining Haaland if I do bring him into my team versus Burnley. I think that is a no-brainer, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the FA Cup fixtures this weekend. Will Haaland start? That's going to be something I'm going to be keeping an eye on over this coming weekend. Thoughts on Haaland from a Twitter perspective are varied, with FPL Martin here coming out with a nice little quip around the fact that everyone's going to be captaining Haaland as soon as he comes back. That probably is the case, but I love him and I think he's great. So bring it on. 2 tweets here about Diogo Jota and Salah. It looks like the community is seriously considering bringing in Jota as well. I think that given again that Salah will be out for up to a month, it makes total sense to actually make that move. And anyone who still has Salah in their teams, I'm sure is going to be looking to bring Diogo Jota in. Could he be on pens as well? I think that probably is going to be the case. I think Jota is an absolute no-brainer as a replacement for someone in your midfield or for even Mo Salah. Captain poll here from FPL Raptor. It looks like Foden is one of the favourites to be captained for this coming game week. I have Foden, he is my current captain, but if I do bring in Erling Haaland, I'll be putting the armband on him. It looks like Tom's FPL here is going to be bringing in Haaland for Alvarez, and he'll be moving the captain's armband from Alvarez to Haaland, which I think is really smart. Again, we'll have to wait for team news before we make that move, but that's something I'm considering doing, bringing in Haaland for Archer. A nice poll here from Finnish FPL Magpie, who has gone as far as asking for the best options for the next 3 to 4 game weeks, with Jota, Richarlison, KDB and Madison if fit in the running. And it's clear to see that KDB is a favourite, with Jota just behind. Again, I don't like KDB as a pick. I love him as a player, but I think that we need to make sure he's starting in games before we bring him into our teams. Let me know what you think about my team. Let me know what you think about my transfer plans. If in doubt, as I always say, just roll. Give the video a like and please do subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.